Shabbat Shalom. Shabbos. A young boy, just 10 years old, sits on his bed with a pencil in his hand, tasked with writing a postcard to a soldier in the United States Army fighting in the Persian Gulf War. The year is 1990, and the war is beginning to build. Finally, the invasion in early January of 1991. And at the bottom of the TV screen, as if it were some Olympic competition, there was a scrolling death toll with the flag of the country involved. The boy has been trying to write this postcard for days, but he has no idea where to begin or what to say. Dear Staff Sergeant Everett, how are you? No, that's not right, he thinks. Dear Staff Sergeant Everett, are you okay? No, that's not quite right either. With the help of his parents, he completes the letter and mails it off. Dear Staff Sergeant Everett, what are you doing now? Are you safe? What do you wish for? Weeks pass. Months pass. Almost 9 months later, there is an envelope waiting in the mailbox. The boy runs excitedly to the box, pulls out the letter, rips it open, and reads, Dear Marcos, thank you for your postcard. I loved seeing it. I'm so happy you asked me what I wish for because honestly, my wishes have changed since being here. When I first got here, I just wished to go back home, to see my parents, to see my friends. Then, after a month, I wished to stay alive. Now, I only wish for one thing, peace. Much love to you and your family. Staff Sergeant Keith Everett, United States Army 24th Infantry Division. I remember writing that note when I was 9 years old, actually. And that last question, what do you wish for? And the answer I received would become a mantra for life. I wish for only one thing, peace, he said. Thematically, peace is linked to the Jewish people, to the United States, and more directly to this week's Torah portion, Parshat Pinchas. Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, is a zealot. He takes the life of two people in God's name and is rewarded with a brit shalom, meaning a covenant of peace. Or so we think he's blessed. At first glance, the Torah is clear. But then we look a bit deeper only to realize how fractured that peace really is. If you look inside a Torah scroll, if you open it up, and you'll see tomorrow when we read from the Torah, that the letter Vav in the word shalom is cut in half. It's broken. The Vav, which is a symbol of uprightness and strength, is fractured. Anywhere else in the Torah, a letter that is broken or has a smudge on it or is incomplete or is tilted to one side would render the Torah unkosher, and it would need to be repaired. But this word shalom is purposely left broken. Torah commentators have debated the reasoning for the broken Vav, and the answer that I find most meaningful is this. A brit shalom, a covenant of peace, isn't guaranteed. It isn't free, and it is imperfect, often broken. We have no doubt felt a bit of brokenness and brokenheartedness since October 7th, watching as the world quickly slipped back to the hateful rhetoric against Israel, turning the blame to the victim rather than the true source. We've seen how people use the name of God, disgrace the name of God by uttering God's praise just before they murder innocent people. We've seen now in this country how political violence isn't just reserved for developing nations, it happens here too. All these freedoms that we as Americans and as Jews, all these freedoms that we champion, the values we espouse, the ideals we pursue, they're all for the sake of peace. But that peace is constantly being torn. Like the vav in the Torah, it's broken. That covenant of peace, that brit shalom, is fractured. You know, when I received that postcard 30-something years ago, the 10-year-old me or the 9-year-old me was incapable of processing the profound wisdom of the evolution of this person. First, from his inherent and rightful wish to be home, leading ultimately to him just desiring peace. It's an evolution and a journey that we must face at some point. Sure, we want to be home. We want to feel safe. We want to live our lives. But we can't do it looking through a solitary lens. The pursuit of peace, as imperfect as it may be, needs to continue communally with you, with me, with each and every one of us, reminding the other that to be a complete vav, we must cast the fracture, heal the wound, and recover what has slipped away from us. In preparing for tonight, I began to think about my children, the world in which they are being raised. How Joanna and I, just like parents around the universe, try to shield their kids and protect them from harm. You may remember that, and perhaps it's no coincidence, that on this day, July 27th, 1981, Adam Walsh was kidnapped and murdered right in Hollywood, Florida, from the old Sears. His father, John Walsh, has become the nation's leading advocate for missing and exploited children. And together with his wife, Reeve, John founded the Adam Walsh Child Resource Center, advocating for legislative changes. 25 years to the day after 1981, July 27th, after Adam's kidnapping, President George W. Bush signed into law the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act, guaranteeing stiffer penalties for convicted felons. We think about the vav, the brokenness that parents feel, the brokenness that the world feels when we can't sit up straight. I think that regardless of what you think about peace, whether we pursue it, there's an argument that could be made that if we had a perfect peace, we'd become complacent and there would be no need to take action. I don't know, maybe. But what I do know is this. When I reflect on the story of Adam Walsh, when I remember that letter that was sent to Staff Sergeant Keith Everett, when we turn on the news and we watch all that's going on in the world, the only thing that we can pray for is that our children and grandchildren will one day open a Torah scroll and see an unbroken vav. That they'll be able to look inside and see a shalom that is complete, a shalom that is whole. May we be blessed with the opportunity to witness that day, to be whole. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane, yada la 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 la. I will build this world from love. Yada la 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 la. And you must build this world from love. Yada la la la. Then God will build this world from love. Yada la 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 la. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yada la 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 la. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yada la. Chesed ibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, oh, lam chesed ibaneh, yadadai, la 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 la, oh, lam chesed ibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, la la. Must build this world from love. Yada la, yada la. Then God will build this world from love. Yada la, yada. Shabbat shalom.